Hello, everyone. Friends, thank you so much for joining us. And Vince, I leave it up to you.
So yeah, hi. My name is Vincent Amazona. I work with Vanessa over at Care Indeed. I've been a nurse for about 6 years, mainly working in subacute and home-based practices, and most recently with memory care.
Okay, well, hey, I'm Martha, and you've probably read my bio, but I work as a transformational life coach, and I'm a health coach. And my passion is really the mind-body connection. I'm crazy about it in neuroscience.
So my name's Alana. Really great to be here with all of you today. I'm an advanced grief recovery specialist, and excuse me, and I work with people through grief and loss. And I'm very passionate about helping people through grief and loss, having lost my father the day after my 24th birthday, and just spending many years lost in my own grief maze. And I vowed to help others and make sure that no one ever felt the way that I felt. And so I teach the grief recovery method, and I work with people that are grieving and walk alongside them on their journey so that they don't have to feel lost and alone.
I guess my focus right now is mindfulness first. And there was a point where I strongly believe that mindfulness and healing are one and the same. But in all of this work, I think I realized this thing in me, kind of like you spoke to, Vince. Something's always sort of been there for you to work with an older population, and for myself, this sort of way of showing up for people has always been there. And at the same time, that journey has been, how do I also show up for myself? So it's been good, and now I've realized, just the more we come to love ourselves, the more compassion we show up with for other people.
There's a lot of unknowns right now, but I feel so privileged to be in this journey with so many people, and I remain strong and a believer and advocate that this will be over soon. So through your help and through each person's contribution here, I'd like to ask through those questionnaires, and Kuya Vincent be able to help us kind of navigate this situation for those people who's going to listen to this discussion.
How are you guys all dealing with that? How are you facing? I don't want to keep using this term to death, but that new normal. How are you reaching out? How are you guys adjusting it for your personal selves? Because you're all responsible for somebody else. That's what makes you all great. But how are you taking care of yourselves at this point in time?
I hear a lot of people focusing on gratitude, which gratitude is great, but it doesn't negate the feelings that we have of fear, anxiety, and loss, or whatever's coming up. And I know for me, there is a lot of fear and anxiety, like you said, completely, not being able to go get my favorite cup of coffee, or, little things like going to the gym or going to work. So there's so many levels of change and so many levels of grief that's affected us. And of course, me too, I miss going to the gym. And so just really taking stock of that and trying to do things like go for a walk and be in nature, not trying to tell myself how I should feel and letting myself feel scared, but also feel grateful that I get to be home, and also feel grateful that I can still work with my clients online and I can still help myself, but also scared, so that, experience all the emotions as they are.
If you're feeling angry, then that's an emotion that's coming up in you, and by trying to counteract it, that's not going to be very effective. But if you just allow yourself to be angry, but observe it, be aware of it, and know that you have a choice, because that anger can also be coming out of fear. If you go, you bring yourself, you always bring your attention back to yourself, to your center, to your belly, to your heart, use your breath, come inside. And then sort of like, where am I coming from? And that anger could actually be coming from fear. And the fear is, of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. It feels very disempowering to not know what's going to happen and to see all these things around us. So there's a real radical acceptance that we're being called to really accept what's happening. But our choice always, where we do have our power, is we truly can choose, how am I going to respond to this? And the only way to authentically respond is to go into that place of authenticity, which is deep inside yourself. It's going to be difficult. We can't deny that. But any little tidbits that we can give people to just try to help them, just come back to, this is what it is. We don't have any power over the situation of what's happening worldwide, and that we have to stay at home. But within the context of that, we can make a lot of choices and decisions.
Suddenly we're being faced with ourselves, and that's new for some people. And what I mean to say is that I think as a culture, not just as a Western culture, but a dominant culture in the world, we have tended towards filling our lives with action and things, and we've created lifestyles that don't make space for checking in with ourselves, and lifestyles that don't make space for feeling our feelings. Now suddenly we're in a space where we're being asked to do those things, where you almost don't have a choice, and you don't know, and we don't even know what choices we have, because we've led a life in a way that defines choice for us almost already. It doesn't seem as flexible. And a part of what that means as well is I'm coming face to face with what I inherited from my parents and their parents, ancestral trauma, ancestral cultural behavior. So it's new. This is very new. So I guess what I'll say here is, first and foremost, the suffering that we're experiencing around anxiety and uncertainty and grief is, I think I want to validate the experience and the way that we respond to it. Like, that if I'm angry, or if I'm sad, or if I'm overwhelmed, all of these are coming from defense mechanisms that I've built in, ways that I haven't learned how to see myself. And those are there for a reason. Those are there as a mechanism for protection for myself. So they're real and they're valid. But at this point now, suddenly we're having to ask, what are they either keeping in? What am I containing inside of myself? What am I suppressing? Or what am I not seeing or avoiding? And suddenly I have to see it. Suddenly I have to look at it.
I think one thing I've learned quickly in all of this is, there's no reward for martyrdom in this. Just to say that you were able to be a support, but at the same time, knowing that, my situation is having two little ones and my wife. There's a lot of people that I've tried to reach out to share those situations, and unfortunately, I'm not getting that reflection back. I've gotten that feeling of trying to take that moment of self-care. It does feel like a guilty pleasure at this point. And Martha said, we're in survival mode. It's trying to eat cake while everyone else is starving. So it's very guilty. But do you all agree that at this point it's okay to take that time?
And so it's very, very important that we take care of ourselves. And as Chris said, if we're not making that time for ourselves, what is that saying about our self-worth and how we value ourselves? And so really, to heal, we have to start with ourselves first.
Self-care truly is so important. Do I feel guilty at times that I'm able to do exercise, or I push myself to do exercise, to eat healthy? There are times, yes, because I feel that I should take care of my people first before taking care of myself. But through this discussion, it affirms to me that I will not be able to take care of my people, of the team, if I'm sluggish or I'm not healthy mentally and physically.
How do you all know? And how do I know I'm okay? What is that bare marker for you guys? What's that bar for people?
In that moment when you wake up, that if you have any anxiety or fear or question about yourself, it's right there in that moment when you wake up. And you can immediately get busy and just hardly even notice it. Or you can be with it. And I think that, I still get that sometimes in the morning. It's related to, am I really living my purpose, or whatever the question is. But it's kind of like, is everything okay? Am I okay? Mm-hmm. Am I in my place?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a first I'd say is, hey, it's part of being human. This experience is not easy for anybody. We're all on a continuum, and there's really no beginning and no end. We're all in the middle of our process of living and becoming. And there's no right or wrong place to be. Where you are right now is the right place because that's where you are. Nothing is more precious than being in that place, because, the teaching that what you put your attention on is where you place your energy, and wherever you place your energy, that grows stronger and stronger. So if you're placing your attention inside yourself, where truth and love reside, and so that's where the selfish is not selfish. It's totally selfless to go inside yourself and put your attention on the eternal now moment, which should be simple, but it's just Western society has kind of blown it. But you do that and cultivate that relationship with yourself. You grow that inside yourself, and that's all you can give to the world, because that's who you are. You can't give anything except who you are. Having that fortitude inside by being that source of compassion and love, and whatever label you want to put on it. It's what comes up out of you when you cultivate that. That's a beautiful thing. Nothing is more worthwhile.
Let's be together with whatever you're feeling, whatever that is. If you don't feel okay right now, let's sit in that not okayness. And it's okay to be here with me while we do that, right? That's sort of an essential piece. When people are saying, am I okay? There's a part of them that's asking, is it okay for me to not feel okay? Is that okay? Is it okay for me to even say this to you? Do I have permission? So there's these really tender parts of ourselves that are always here. And sometimes it's just about holding how we hold either a lack of feeling safe or how we feel a lack of feeling okay. How do we hold that together? Because in relationship is where the okayness can eventually resurface. How do I know the difference between being selfish and taking care of myself? Practice.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah.
And for the message for everyone, if any of us who haven't begun to be in that space of listening, is to start. It's going to be clunky and clumsy and awful, and we'll have all kinds of questions because the brain wants to know the answer now. But keep listening.
And it's okay. And it's okay to feel scared, and it's normal. And we do need to validate and to honor any feelings that come up for us, because there are feelings that come up and it's real for us. And so by trying to fight it, by trying to say you're okay when you're not okay, it actually makes you even more not okay. And so really when people ask me that, it's you got to unpack the emotions around there. It's really not, as Chris eloquently said, it's not a simple answer, but also, and again, you don't have to be okay. Frankly, I'm not okay right now. I can imagine you guys aren't okay right now. It's scary. It's uncertain, and that's okay.
If you don't address your feelings, or if you constantly push them back, you're practicing pushing them away, and they will express themselves other ways, through pains in the body, through anxiety, through acne, through issues in the belly. Like that will happen. And so we're giant pattern systems. That's what we are, and whatever we practice is what we become.
It's just being okay and experiencing the highs and the lows, and just enjoying the journey.
To never lose hope, and to know that the pain will end, and to know that they can complete that heart work. It is possible.
The single most impactful and potent way for us is to continue to be allowed to be in whatever we're in, and there we will find our own answer. So I'd say any one of us, and anyone can reject this freely, this is an invitation, but the invitation is for us to invite whatever anyone else is feeling, and in fact encourage them to sit in the confusion, or encourage them to sit in the sadness. That's it. To allow them the space to do so, whatever it is.